Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Prepare Yourself for Love with Blaire Allison, the Love Guru. You can find Blaire on the web at loveguru.net and datingtipsfordudes.com. And now your host, Blaire Allison, the Love Guru.
Hey guys, hi. So welcome. This is the first show I'm doing here on Blog Talk Radio. It's exciting. I'm a little bit nervous. There's a lot to handle on the back end here, so I'm going to do my best. And just for those of you who are familiar with Blog Talk Radio, I do not have the chat room open. It's just way too much for me to handle right now, but maybe in future shows I will open it up. So we have a really good topic today. I'm excited about my guest. But before I go into the topic, I just want to, since it is the first show, a lot of you guys are new to me. A lot of you guys, I'm new to you. I'm going to just share a little bit about myself so you know what's going on, and I'm going to kind of let you know what's happening on the show here. First off, well, I'm Blaire, and I'm a love expert known as the Love Guru, and my website is loveguru.net. That's LOVEGURU.net. And that's for women, and the guy's website is datingtipsfordudes.com. Now, I'm also an intuitive heart healer, which basically means that I have the gift to open and heal your heart so you can attract the love that you desire. And I'm also a channel, which means that I hear and I see and I feel. I have a connection to spirit. So basically, when I'm giving advice, all this stuff comes through. And the second half of this show, you guys can call in, and I will answer your dating and relationship questions. And whatever comes through for me, I will share with you. And I also am known to share love-attracting exercises, which is basically like you get the intuitive guidance, and you also get. I'm a very proactive type of person, so a lot of times these exercises come through of how you can be manifesting love or a better love life. And I will share that with you too. They're going to be mini readings. I can't go into it obviously as in depth as if we were doing a one-on-one session, but I'm happy to answer your questions. So let me I already see a caller. This is great. Look at that. Look at you guys. Let me give you the number. I don't even know how the number is actually on the Blog Talk Radio screen if you're on the show page. Let me give it to you. It is 347-324-3904, and why don't you just call right now, get in queue. Also, if you have questions for my guest, I'm going to be asking him a lot of questions. I'm going to tell you the topic in 1 second here, but if you have questions for my guest, feel free to get in queue. Also, dial in, and if you have questions or comments for him, I'll put you on air. You guys could ask him, or if you just want to get in queue with your dating or love life questions, all right? So today's topic is marriage, then divorce, lessons learned, and mate selection. And I have a really awesome guest. His name is Phil, and I'm actually going to just bring him on right here. Phil, are you there with me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. All right, so let me tell you about Phil. He is 39 years old. He's going to be 40 in September, so he's a Virgo for you ladies who like to know the astrological sign. I always like knowing that about whoever I'm dating or whoever I'm talking to. I always need to know what their sign is. So there you go. He's a Virgo. Right, I'm assuming this is right. When's your birthday in September? I don't even know.
September 17th.
Right, okay. So you're a Virgo, right?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. All right, so he was married for 12 years officially, which we'll find out what that means. I guess that had to do with the whole divorce proceedings and all of that. But married for 12 years, has 4 kids, ages 6, 13, 16, and 18. Wow, that's a lot of years of making babies. And one day, his wife said, I don't want to be married to you anymore, or you're not the type of guy I want to be married to, or I don't know. So let's just get into this. Gosh, where do we start here? Well, first off, before the whole divorce, let's start back to you got married when you were 22. So can you just kind of tell me and tell everybody listening, like how did you guys meet and how did that happen? How long did you guys date for?
Well, I love telling this story because for me it's a love story. It's one of those love at first sight kind of things. We worked at the same company, and I literally bumped into her. I was running down the stairs to go to the break room, and another coworker of mine was running right behind me at full speed ahead. Or I was ahead of him, and then I stopped in my tracks because I saw this woman sitting at the desk, and I hadn't seen her before, and he came full speed ahead into the back of me and was like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I lipped to him, who's that? And he said, oh, that's Millie. She just got back from maternity leave. So it was like an instant kind of like, oh, and then like, oh, man, married with kids, forget it. But I found out within a week or two that she wasn't with the father and was a single mom. And we basically struck up a conversation, just coworker kind of conversation, ended up working next to each other. And it turned out we had a mutual friend at work that I expressed an interest to him that I really liked her. And he tried to do the setup thing, and I said, don't do anything. I'll work it out. And just by virtue of working together, being near each other, finding out about each other, and then one day we worked a flight together, and we upgraded a woman who was a travel agent to first class, and her payback was free tickets to a celebrity tennis match. And that was the first time we went out. It was the first time I met my oldest son, Kyle, who was 4 months.
Wait, I'm going to pause you for a second.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm sorry. Because I'm really interested about this first. Before we go any further, I have a lot of questions here. So, Number one, you had heard that she was, when you first were interested in her, she just came back, you said, from maternity leave.
Right.
So, did you have any kids before you had met her?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, so being like a single guy, no kids, no issue that she had a kid already, or she just had a kid. She just came back from maternity leave, right?
Yeah, when I tell this story, I tell people that first time I saw her, something moved inside of me. It is something that has not happened since, but I recalled it then. I recall it as I tell the story, not to be a romantic, but just to say that it was something that I had never felt before. So whatever would have registered as a red flag as a single guy at the age of 21, it was quelled by that movement. And I dealt with what that meant. Yeah.
So it was just kind of like, I feel amazing about her, so I don't care that she has a kid or anything like that. You were just so attracted to her, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And I made sense of it before I even told her that I was interested in her. I kept it very platonic right from the start, but after a couple of months, I couldn't keep it in anymore. And I expressed to her that I was really hoping that we could develop something. And she went on a vacation, came back, wrote me a note and said, I'd rather wait. I'm not concentrating on relationship right now. I have a kid. She gave me back that note, and that happened to be the first day that we kissed. So
okay.
Way to go with her waiting, but the rest is history, as they say at that point.
Okay. Let me just pause here for a second. Let me give you guys the phone number. I'm going to continue asking Phil questions, but if you want to be asking your questions or you have comments, the number is 347-324-3904. Or if you want to get in queue, we have some people already in line here. If you want to be getting in queue to be asking your dating relationship question for me after we're done with Phil. Okay, so how long did you date her before you were like, she's the one for me? I want to get married to her.
I I kind of think I knew right from the beginning, because prior to meeting her, I had a prayer session of my own. In my own meditation, I said, you know what, God, I'm kind of done with this whole dating thing. And someone to hear that a 21-year-old was done, you have to understand that I was in the nightclub business from the age of 13. My dad was in that business. I was a DJ. I had done my share of partying, not a very promiscuous man. I was in the airline business. I traveled a lot. I had gone places. I had done things. Even as a child, my parents took us places. So I felt like I'm a very monogamous thinker. I had a 2.5 year relationship, broke off, and then a year of just kind of traveling. So I settled in my heart that I'd like to find the one, not even understanding what that really meant. And then 2 weeks later is when I have that incident where I bump into her. And
wow, that's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, so when I met her, from when I met her to when we were married was just over a year.
Wow, okay, so how long into it when did you guys get engaged? Like, how many months were you dating before you got engaged?
8 months, I think it was, and then the next 4 months was the planning of the wedding.
And how old, you were 21 when you met her. How old was she?
22.
Oh, an older woman. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So how did you know, how did you make the decision that she was going to be your wife, that you wanted to get married to her? What was, the thought process, or was it just your feeling of, wow, since the beginning that just kind of carried on? Or, what was going on that you knew that she was different than any other woman?
I think my language around that relationship started from dealing with that she had a son. I never looked at it as something temporal. I felt that by engaging a woman with a child, I was taking on family. I wasn't taking on dating. Mm-hmm. So I approached it with that in mind. I always spoke in terms of what the future would look like. So, I think that's pretty much part of it. And then that's the way it was. I don't really have a scientific answer or a flow chart that I could tell someone that I got to step B and then step C, so D, this is what you do. It wasn't like that. It was just, I think in my mind, I had settled in my spirit also that this is what I wanted.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we're going to come back to this. I might have to take notes while we're on this call here. Let me grab my pen, because I'm wondering now, it sounds like, okay, here I am, I'm Phil, I'm 21, I want to, I said a prayer to God, I want to settle down, I'm done, with this nightclub thing, busy with girls or whatever, not being promiscuous, but just, you kind of made that note, and then you meet this woman, and it's just kind of like, it just progresses. There's no thought process, which maybe also after this call too, some stuff will come to your mind. That usually happens also, but I'm going to come back to this because now I'm curious. I want to kind of go step by step here, but I'm going to come back to it, and remind me if I forget. I'm going to write it down here, but I'm curious what you're doing now. You're out of the marriage now. How long have you been divorced for?
5 years.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So I'm just kind of curious on how you're picking your next one, but we're going to get back to that. So we're going to.
To tell you that it was 8 months of bliss or a year of bliss would be unusual, in my opinion. We certainly had our share of challenges in terms of learning how to be with each other, but I think in my mind, that was just part and parcel to being in a new relationship, but a new long-term one. So I don't know if that kind of covers a little bit of where you're thinking, but, at the point where I asked her to marry me and there was a yes, there was also a little bit of a challenge in what church we would get married in. We had different faiths, but both Christian. But we ended up doing it, and that never became a problem. But so, again, it wasn't like some fairy tale.
Okay, well, let's examine that a little bit. I'm glad that you brought that up, because what exactly, I mean, as far as the church thing, in my eyes, that's no biggie. That's kind of normal negotiation or discussion in a relationship. But as far as like the 8 months that you were dating before you had gotten engaged, what you said it was kind of maybe some things came up that you had to learn how to communicate, or maybe some rockiness or whatever. I mean, what did you fight during? What did you fight about during those 8 months?
Well, I think one of the things, and this will probably segue into the time that we were together, communication is probably an area that I don't lack in. Most people who know me, and we've had a brief kind of getting to know each other, you and I, Blaire. So as verbose as I can be, I also have learned how to listen with equal brevity or equal weight. So what's that? What do you cut to the chase? Does that mean she doesn't like talking? Is that what you're trying to say? I mean, basically, communication is hard for her. Or harder. And again, I want to preface this because I told you in the email that obviously this is my point of view. This is my experience. I won't speak for her. But and also as a side or related note or whatever, I'm not doing these interviews with you or with anybody. It's not to trash talk people. That is not the intention here. I mean, what we're doing is kind of, let's take a look at relationships, and let's be honest about it, because there are so many people out there and around us that will tell us that things are all great, or even if most of the time they are great and there's some maybe, quote, ugliness. We like to label things good and bad, but maybe there are some things that are like bad in a relationship, but we don't talk about it. It's private. It's something maybe to be ashamed of. And that was a huge part of my journey, because I had this website up that I put up in 2004 that was marryblaire.com, and it got really big in the press and all over, the U.S. and other countries. It got passed around. And what was one of the really big parts of it, that was a site that I was saying out to the world that I wanted to get married, and I want to get married soon, and please help me, and do you know my husband? And that was looked at as all kind of taboo, because women, we're told, I mean, guys go through things like this too, but for my story, I mean, it was that women are told you can't tell guys that you want to get married because you're going to scare them away. So that was something that I was keeping. It was like this kind of secret that I felt so alone with, and I struggled with for so many years that I really couldn't express what I truly wanted, because I was so afraid to scare away a guy. And then what was healing to me was actually to share it. I mean, I ended up sharing it with the world. I mean, that was not my intention. It just happened. But, that was healing for me, to share my struggle with other people. And that's what my intention is through these calls, is that, if you're listening and you have trouble in a relationship, or if you're looking for your one and you're not really sure of, what does a healthy relationship look like, or can I maybe see the flags, the red flags along the way, or whatever. At least here, it's going to be, I'm going to be bringing on people to speak with you guys, or you could listen to, or whatever, that are going to be honest, that are going to be truthful about their journey and what really did happen in their relationship, or what really does happen in their relationship, because there is nothing to hide. There's nothing to be ashamed of this stuff. I mean, the things that we choose to keep private, I think, are really, it makes us feel alone. It really, and there's nothing, I don't know. I could go on and on about this. You guys, if you want to call in and talk to me about this, call in. We'll talk about it. But I'm just going to leave it at that. So, So back to Phil here. This is Phil's the guest. So let's get back to Phil. So tell me, what was it during these 8 months so it was communication was maybe hard for her, so you were learning about that. Right, I was learning about that, and that was pretty much it. I think on a going forward through the years, we had a really, really great co-parenting relationship. There was a lot of love there, a lot of, passion, I guess. But the area that was a consistent challenge was understanding what would really, truly make her happy, and her own personal journey around that, discovering what some of the past hurts were that kept showing up. And I'm someone that is really into personal development, self-help type books. So, in learning how to be better at enrolling someone in that conversation as opposed to pushing it upon them, through the years I got a little bit better at that. And I would say probably in '99 we had a significant breakthrough when I attended the Landmark Forum. Very great transformational work. I don't need to plug them in this call, but that freed up quite a bit of the language around how we spoke and communicated with each other, and it opened her up.
Did she went with you, or you brought back the tools?
She went with me. We ended up sitting next to each other for like the first day, and then the last 2 days not, because I think she needed that space to communicate with other people. And but I believe that was the turnaround for her to be more self-expressive, which was great. But if I'm a scale of 1 to 10 and I'm patting myself on the back, scale of 1 to 10 as communicating goes, let's say I'm a 9.5, okay? So for her to go from a 3 to a 5 is a significant jump. And I think from there is where I could say the beginning of where her frustrations were around still not being able to have what she wants in her life, and my not being the one who can get her there.
Okay, I'm gonna just jump in here. I'm gonna do this.
Sure.
So I'm sorry. So what was, like, you're having a relationship with her, you're married, 2 years goes by, 5 years goes by, 7 years, 10 years. I mean, it's a lot of years. So at what point that it was like, when she had said to you, I mean, were those the words was that the words that she uses, like, I don't want to be married to you anymore? Or you're not the type of man I want to be married to? Or, I mean, what did she say to you?
I want a divorce, but at the point where the official D word came out in 2003, that was the 4th time she was leaving. There were 3 other incidents where I came home and she said, look, I packed my bags. I'm going to go to my sister's house. I'm unhappy.
When was the first one? How many years into the marriage was the first time that she said, I'm going to leave?
I'd have to say 4 years, if I remember correctly.
Wow, okay. So let's just take a look at this for a second. 4 years into the relationship, she's like, I'm going to leave. And this continues over the next several years. And so when was the second time?
Probably within a year after that. And then came to a head in 2000, in that I was kind of given an ultimatum. And to give you a little bit of the family dynamics here, we're living in the upstairs apartment of my parents' home. So for a lot of people, that's a taboo, and for a lot of other people, it's normal. So it all depends on what school of thought you come from.
And this is with your 4 kids?
With 3 of them.
Wow. Okay.
So, I had the built-in babysitters. I was out there trying to blaze the trails in the sales world and not making a really good go at it. So there was a lot of comfort, I guess, or stability on my side in terms of not having to worry about the kids all day long while we try to blaze the trail out there. But it was unsettling for her that we didn't have our own place. And I think a lot of her, and again, this is my overview of it, but there was a bit of the keeping up with the Joneses kind of mentality coming back at me, where I wasn't worried about the Joneses. I was just trying to make a way out there in the world. So I finally hit a financial stride between 97 and 2000 as an executive recruiter, hit the 6-figure mark. So now the ultimatum was, look, we get a place or I'm leaving. and the best place to get that place for bang for the buck was in South Florida. So there was a big move. I was away from my core friendships, the family. The extended family that lived in South Florida was not the closest of my family. So I didn't have like a real core network of people like I'm used to. And anyone that knows me socially. I'm like the little mayor of all the little groups that I belong to. So I was kind of isolated, and business wasn't doing well. And within a year, business was falling apart. Then 9/11 happened. Or after 9/11 happened, business just pretty much fell apart in the recruiting industry. So a lot of failed jobs, not that great at the money management thing. So a lot of people could look at it and say, oh, it was probably money.
Wait,
but it
I'm
wasn't
going to stop
just
you
that.
again. Hold on, Phil. So was most of her time, I mean, the issues that you guys were having was like the communication stuff, and then like her wanting, I mean, then it sounded like an issue was like getting out of the house, you know, because I'm assuming she was a stay-at-home mom, or did she work also?
No, she worked also.
Okay, so it was kind of like let's get a place of our own and things like that. I mean, what was going on in your relationship over these years that, I mean, problems had to come up over, you know, when the 4-year mark that she was like, I want to get a divorce. I mean, what was the issue there?
In the 4-year mark, there wasn't the B word. It was just, I need space.
Why?
And then that was the dealing with, I don't know that I ever got to a 100% why, but that was the dealing with some of the past that I didn't know about, and communicating in the moment what's going on, what you're unhappy about, as opposed to bottling everything up and then, you know, you step on someone's toe and then you find out they've been pissed at you for a year. So I use that,
right,
you know, anecdotally, but at the end of the day, where it really came to a head was in 2002, thereabouts, and then 03. And 03 is 02 really, because while we're pretty much going through a separation and I'm working back in New York, traveling back and forth to New York and Florida, one day in that month that we hadn't spoken to each other, we managed to conceive our daughter. And
oh, okay.
Yeah,
hold on one second. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. I want to bring on a caller because I want to see, and I'm going to go to you, area code 828. If you have a comment about this, or if you have a question for Phil, I'm going to bring you on. If it's your questions for me, then don't worry. I'll just mute you out again. But let me just bring on somebody to see what they have to say, okay? So let's see if this works. There we go. Okay. 828, you're on the air. Do you have a question for Phil or a comment, or did you have a dating question?
Well, actually, I did not have a question. I was just listening intently.
Nice.
Because I have gone through a divorce too, and I have come out the other side and found my soulmate. So I'm real interested in what he has to say and don't want to interrupt him. So I'd just like to listen right now.
Great. Okay. Thanks for your call. That's awesome. All right. I'm going to mute you out again.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's see if. Okay. Good. All right. This is new technology for me, and it's working. So that's good to know. Okay. So let's. So we were having. It sounds like a lot of communication problems. So let's move on to here as far as like you're out of this relationship now. I mean, maybe we'll go through a little bit of the divorce. I don't know if I'm really going to go there right now, but what's the lessons learned as far as, I mean, it sounds like you felt like here you were, you're a communicator at 9.5 at the, you know, if you're scaling it from 1 to 10, 10 being the most communicative person and 1 being non, and she's maybe a 3 or so. So it kind of sounded like you felt maybe a little pressure to be bringing her communication skills up to your level. And I'm not talking about as like a this is not a whole like I'm better than you type of thing. I'm not saying it like that, and I don't interpret yours like that. But people are on different scales of how much we like to talk and communicate and express our feelings. So it sounds like to me like you felt like a little pressure to help her out. So in moving, number one, like, did you feel that? And number two is, in moving forward, I mean, what are you looking for in a mate as far as communication style?
Well, I appreciate the question. I think to encapsulate it, I can tell you this. In being the communicator and also coming to terms with that I'm a recovering know-it-all, doing it all over again, I should have been more communicative about my fears, my shortcomings, when I felt pressure, as opposed to trying to fix things. And I wasn't engaged really in trying to fix her. I accepted her. But in bringing about the ways to help her deal with her past and be more communicative in the moment, that actually helped her be the person who she is today, in my opinion, as I look back at the books that she started reading and the way she started expressing what she really wanted, so that, you know, I can even make a decision. Now, I fell hard because I was wrapped up in the love I had for my family and buying into the 50-year plan and having that not happen. But at the end of the day, as I look at it now, I love her as the mother of my kids, as a human being. She's a good person. So I would never want to be that thing in the way of her success in life, or that person in the way. What I'm looking for now, the second part of your question, is what I've been engaged in this last year, is getting to know Phil and being okay with me. Because I'm a firm believer that you cannot give in the world what you do not have from within. So if I want to receive love, I have to have enough love in myself to give love and to have that come back. And this has been the first year that I've actually incubated and been okay with me. And I've gone on dates. Again, I'm not a promiscuous man. I'd rather go out and find out about someone before we rush into anything. But the relationship I had just before this year, we broke up, I guess it was March of last year. I broke up with my previous girlfriend of about a year and a couple of months. But that was the quote-unquote transition relationship, the one that said to me, hey, Phil, what the hell are you doing? Because I looked at it from the standpoint of the demographics. She won't need me financially. She's got a great job. She won't need me to provide a home. She has a nice place. She won't need kids. She's a bit older than me, and her son is a lot older, so she's not looking for someone to have kids with. So it made sense, but I was with a person that I didn't like. And I came to find out that I didn't like her based on some things that happened, but I stayed in it for the sake of, well, you know, relationships need work, you know, you have to put in the time, and we'll work through it. And then it just came to a point where it's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? You wouldn't spend 5 minutes with this person as an ordinary person, you know.
Wait, I'm lost here for a second. Hold on. Are you talking about your ex, or are you talking about the person that you were just dating?
The person I was just dating.
Okay.
Yeah,
so, Okay. So what is, like, when, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of, you know, you have a little bit of a checklist going on in your head. I mean, what is the stuff that you are looking for in your one now? I mean, how will you know? How will you know when you're dating somebody? I mean, is it a thing that you're just going to date, and there's nothing wrong or right or whatever? I mean, I'm just kind of examining here, but, like, when you're in a relationship again, okay, say same scenario happened. You walk, you know, you end up working with somebody, or you walk past somebody and you feel the same feelings that you felt for your ex. Is that a situation that you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to go with that, I'm going to feel those feelings, I'm going to follow it through, we're going to get married again, or what, and, you know, different situation? Or is there certain things that, like, your need to be checked off, or, I mean, how are you doing it differently? how are you, I mean, this goes into the whole mate selection. Like, how are you selecting your mate the next time around? I mean, okay, well, here, first off, also, do you want to get married again?
I'm open to the possibility. I haven't, to kind of quickly answer your question, I don't have a checklist. What I have is that I'm fully engaged with making a positive impact in the world. So I imagine I'll bump into someone along the way, and we'll create a conversation around what that looks like. And again, it's not that I'm having difficulty meeting people, but it's not full on in my mind that I am looking for the one, because I'm okay with me finally.
Mm-hmm.
So being engaged in the things that are important to me, I can give you a quick, for example, is that I have a very good friend of mine in a men's group that I belong to who has been searching for someone, but is, in my humble opinion, is not fully engaged in just being okay with who he is. Because if he were, it would show up probably effortlessly. And I'm glad that I'm the person that I am, because I'm out there, I'm meeting people, I'm having a good time, I'm happy. And people thank me a lot for the stuff that I do. And, you know, what more can I ask for as a human being in the world? Touching people. The women that I've come across who interest me across a continental divide, let's just say, because of this internet thing, we have great conversations, great connection. The physical connection, I think, is something that's possible given all the right circumstances. But in the meantime, you know, when I meet someone who's local, they only know a part of me. So it takes time to develop knowing each other. Whereas, like, if you see my internet profile on Facebook, you see how I show up, you hear my story, you'll hear this interview, and you still want to talk to me, then we're probably better off in terms of a jump-off point. So, like,
yeah, what I'm not understanding is, though, you're kind of being a little non-committal right now with me. It's kind of like, it's, for me, I mean, I know things aren't black and white, but it's like, you know, yes or no, I want to get married again, or like whatever you said, maybe you're open to it or whatever. Mm-hmm. Are you just looking to just date right now? You don't care you don't care about dating. You're open to dating if it happens. Nothing, you know, something light or something serious. I mean, I'm just a little bit unsure of like what's going on over there as far as like what is the strategy moving forward, and not like, I'm not saying like you have to have one, but I just kind of want to, I feel like there's something there that I'm just kind of like, what's going on? You know, I told a lot of people if they like you, they like the picture here, that they could email me and I'll hook you guys up. You know, that's my little matchmaking.
Yeah, we could certainly. Yeah, we could certainly. I certainly am open to that. To say that on my radar is get married wouldn't be authentic. I'm open to the possibility of getting married, and here's what I mean by that. I'll meet when I meet someone, if they say to me, oh, I don't want to get married again, but we have a tremendous amount of love for each other and we love being together, I'm okay with that. If I meet someone who says, I would love to have kids, I'm open to that. If they say, I never want to have kids, I'm open to that also. So the possibility of who it is that I'm with is very open-ended. It's a clean sheet of paper. The person who attracts me the most, I'm a mind freak. I think I've explained this to you. I love the intellectual, smart and beautiful woman. So someone who I'm engaged with in that conversation of what we're out there doing in the world, the impact that we're making for society, that's the person that's probably going to hold my attention long enough for me to answer your question with a commitment. Right now, she's out there. She doesn't know who I am, maybe. Or maybe she does know who I am and I know who she is, but we're working out the logistics.
Okay. I mean, should I leave it like that, or should I kind of...
Well, what other questions did you have for me?
I'll tell you something. I mean, we've been talking for a couple of weeks now, not from a dating, not from a dating side or whatever, but we've been friends, we've been doing some business talk and stuff like that, and my impression of you is that you are looking for somebody, and that you're out there and you're kind of, okay, here's a pretty flower over here, and then there's a pretty flower over there, and you're talking to them and you're seeing how it's going and how it progresses, and then if something happens, you'll flow with it. If it doesn't, then you're fine with that too, which all of that's fine. I mean, I'm just kind of just sharing my impressions here, but I just wonder that if, I'm very big, what I teach is the how to manifest things in your life. And to me, that there's fine. People go through periods that they're like, I don't know. I'm focused on other things. It's not really a top on my list. A relationship, and that is fine. We go through cycles in our lives of things that are important and things that are just not of interest to us right now. But if you are looking to manifest something, then you really need to be focused on, like, what is it, what type of person do you want to attract? What kind of relationship do you want to have? And that will pull it into your life more. And I can't help but wonder that it's like, maybe if this happens or if that happens, I'll be fine with it. That kind of non-commitment to it kind of protects you a little bit, because it's like, maybe it's a little bit vulnerable still. I mean, you were married for a long time. I mean, it takes years to recover from that. I mean, everybody wants to recover right away. As soon as they get out of a relationship, they want to be in another one. But healing does not happen like that, and life doesn't happen like that. It's a journey, and there's no rush to the finish line. But, it kind of makes me feel that, like, my impressions of you have been that you have been looking for something, and you have never said this to me, but that you are looking for something, but it's just kind of like, maybe let me not make a commitment to it because maybe I don't want to get hurt again, or maybe I don't want to be vulnerable like that, or maybe I don't want to be that type of person saying, I want a relationship, walking around, I want to be a relationship.
Yeah, I think you're probably spot on that latter statement, but, in the game of being successful again, that's probably the most, and I should say more specifically financially successful. But out of that, the context for me is my success is coupled to my ability to help other people succeed. So in my network marketing business, that's pretty much part and parcel to your success. You help a bunch of people succeed, you will succeed. So that's what I'm engaged in doing. And by being a person who's out there social, meeting a lot of people, I keep meeting a lot of people, and I keep meeting a lot of people. That's what I want to do. So for me to focus on meeting just one specific person to, quote, unquote, make me happy or complete me, it doesn't register. I'm whole and complete as I am. And one of my
two different things.
Yeah. But one of my mantras, and I think you've heard me say this before, is you are 100% the other half of your soulmate. So if you're not showing up at 100%, what do you expect to attract?
Right. I mean, you got me a little speechless. The thing is like, to me, one thing doesn't have to do with the other. Okay. I mean, love is all around us, and yeah, I mean, like, love is all around us, and if you're helping people in your business and you're helping people succeed in whatever, that's, to me, I mean, they're related somewhat, but I mean, they're also completely different. I mean, that's your business life and your professional life, whereas you have like a personal life. And again, not like everything has to be worked on at the same time, and not like everything is important to us at all the times. But yeah, I mean, I'll let it be. I'm going to let it be.
Well, what were the other questions? I mean, we were talking about marriage, divorce, healing, mate selection.
I mean, I'm curious. I mean, we were talking about how you were going to pick your next one, and I mean, you answered that. I mean, my understanding of that was just that you're just kind of going to flow with it.
Yeah.
You
look,
think that's a good strategy?
I think in terms of knowing where I am today, if there were a quote-unquote girl next door, logistically that might make it easier. Okay? And then all the other attributes are there also. I'm not talking about settling for a girl next door just because geographically it's easier to see her regularly. But I'm going to be traveling quite a bit. I haven't hit the financial stride that I'd like to hit. I'd like to have a place closer to my kids. They live in South Florida. I have a son who's going to college in September. So there are some things that are up in the air about my demographics that I think would show up. Do I want to deal with that right now and take me off my game of being a financial success? Not really. But am I open to meeting people who would take the journey with me? Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
I got it now. Yeah. Okay. Let me give the phone number here for you guys listening at home or probably at work. It is 347-324-3904. I'm going to bring on another caller. I think this is a California line. I'm not really sure. There's like a little symbol here. I'm going to just bring you on. I don't know what this thing means next to your name. Whatever. We're going to play with it. Okay, 310. I'm bringing you on the air. And
hey, Blaire, how are you? Hey, Blaire, how are you?
My
name is Vince. Hello?
Vince, hi, how are you? I can hear you.
Okay, good. How are you?
Good. Are you calling with a comment or question for Phil, or you have a question for me about your love life?
Well, I have a question for you, but first I want to tell you, judging from your picture, you are absolutely gorgeous, and I love your hair.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's sweet.
I just ask what you see for me.
Well, I don't really do readings like that.
Okay.
The way that I work, which this is actually a good question because, I mean, I can do something like that if we were doing a one-on-one session and I didn't have to worry about being on the radio and talking and I could be quiet and kind of go into my zone here. But the way that I usually work is that if you have like, and this is for everybody, and this is good because I didn't explain this, and okay, so here we go. So the way that it works for me is that if you have a certain situation about your dating life and you tell me like a little bit about it, then I'll be able to kind of just give you some guidance right on the spot right there, and then like whatever comes out is like channeled information that I'm pulling for you.
Okay.
That's how I would be able to, that's how I'd be able to work with you guys here. And thank you so much for that question because I totally did not even explain it. And that's cool because I know there's a lot of people out there, psychics or intuitives, that you just kind of call and you're like, tell me about this, and they just go off and off. I don't really do that.
Right. Okay.
But do you have something that's going on in your life now? Oh, somebody's calling you. Maybe they hear you on the radio.
No, that's okay. I can wait. No, there really isn't much going on at the moment. So, it's just, I'm just playing everything by ear right now. In fact, I was going to tell you, I work as a part-time, on the side as a stripper, and it's just funny because people think that you meet a lot of women and get a lot and everything, and actually you don't because women think that way and they don't want to go out with you. And then I have this thing that I go out to anybody I usually work, do that for, because sometimes I've learned in the past it just doesn't work out because then you get involved. Let's say you start getting involved with that person and they say, well,
Blaire, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Because I think we might not be streaming anymore. I don't know.
Oh, maybe I waited a bit too long.
Oh, are you on the air?
I'm not sure. Hold on, let me put my... This is Lisa, by the way.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Oh, you called into the show, right?
Yes.
I'm not sure if they're listening to us right now because I lost Blaire.
Oh.
I don't know if she took us off the air.
You
I can't
know
tell.
what? I'm listening, and it's like an echo of everything you just said.
Because you're listening online?
Mm-hmm.
If you mute out your radio, then
Mute it?
I'll be able to
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. So now.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to Prepare Yourself for Love with Blaire Allison, the Love Guru. For more information, visit her websites at loveguru.net for women and datingtipsfordudes.com for men.
Music. Then
Yeah,
the recording.
Yeah, it's got a really strict timer, so we may be off the stream. But it said we still have 9 minutes. Yeah.
I know. I'm looking at it now. Oh man!
Oh my God, Lisa! Lisa,
yes.
my cousin Lisa?
Yes.
I just saw you in the chat room.
Yes, I wanted to chime in.
Oh my God!
I've been listening.
What question were you going to ask?
Well, I just want.
Now I lost you.
Hey, it's Blaire again. Phil, are you there? I don't know. Am I on the? Maybe I'm by myself here. Hi, 313.
This is yours. Yes, this is. It's so confusing. I think it's shut off. It says 8 minutes remaining, but I don't know.
This is hilarious. You know, it's Mercury retrograde right now, so it messes with technology, and I got cut off. So let me see. Let me bring somebody else is on. Let me see if they can hear us.
Okay.
It's Phil. I'm back on.
Hey.
Hi, Phil.
Are we on air?
I think we are because it says that 7
we have
minutes
7
remaining.
minutes.
7 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome back, everybody. That's hilarious. You know, I was just telling to. I didn't even get your name. 313. What's your name?
My name is Lisa.
Lisa. Hi. I
Hi,
was
Phil.
just telling Lisa that it's Mercury retrograde over the next, like this week and the next, I think it's 2 more weeks, and it messes with technology. And it just made me laugh because my phone got cut off because it's connected through the internet and whatever. So, Lisa, did you have a question for Phil or a comment for Phil?
I sure did, Phil. Can you hear me?
Let's hear it. Yeah.
Well, given the fact that we as women are what they say, emotional creatures, and given your professional drive and how much you value your work and how determined and goal-oriented you are, how do you intend to maintain a healthy, balanced relationship with a woman who is needy or demanding or requires a lot of your attention or even more of your attention, who may or not feel in competition with your work or your passion for your career?
Okay, well, a couple of things. First of all, I don't know that I'd be attracted to the woman that you just described.
I was just going to say that. I was going to say But women can get that way sometimes.
Yeah, they can.
You know, let me jump in for a second, though, because it sounds like Phil is the one that's more into the communication than the women that he chooses.
Well,
you know, if you're talking about his ex
well, no,
sounds
I'm
like
not
he didn't really want to talk. And he wanted to.
Right, exactly. But from the Phil that I know, and I At least I do know
good.
Okay. He's really driven. He's a really goal-oriented person, and his career means a lot to him. What does he say to a woman that says, "Oh, you're working late again, and what about me?" You know, what do you say? How do you handle?
That you know what? That's a great question. And for those who want to be in the know, Lisa is married to my cousin.
Yes.
So we're related. What I can tell you is, should that come up, and I don't intend for it to, but hypothetically speaking, I'm looking forward to being so engaged with the woman that I'm with that working late never comes up. Right now in my life, there's no one to rush home to. I am full on creating this, financial stream and business success so that I can build the life that I want. So when I say that someone bumps into me along this journey and wants to create with me, we're both full on. It doesn't mean that they're doing the business with me, but the fact of the matter is our relationship will work. In terms of the person who's emotional, I tell people all the time, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I sometimes put my foot in my mouth, and sometimes my head is in the clouds. So I'm not that good at biology, but an emotional woman who doesn't have the communicative or logical capacity to balance it is not the person I'd likely be with anymore. So that's the best way I think I can answer that.
Point taken. Good point.
Thank you. Thanks for that question, Lisa. Thanks
You're
for calling
welcome.
in, too.
You're welcome.
We're coming to the end here. We just have a couple more minutes to go. And for everybody, I keep on saying at home. I guess no one's at home. Everyone's at work. For everybody listening on when you're supposed to be doing work, first off, I appreciate you listening. But something to just kind of think about is that, and this doesn't have to do with Phil here, but Phil kind of inspired it. A lot of times we think that our lifestyle is going to change when we meet that special somebody. And actually, to use Phil's words, that he's not planning on working maybe as many hours, or maybe she'll be working with him or whatever when he does find that someone. But I want everybody kind of we're going to do a little take-home exercise over the next week, because I'm going to be back with you guys next week. I have another guest coming on. I'm actually I think we're deciding between two right now, so I'm not going to tell you what it's about, but it's a different topic about relationships. It's going to be good. But just between this week and next week, start thinking about what is that life that you want to be living once you have your mate in your life. So, for example, if you're working a lot of hours now, and when that person comes into your life, you don't plan on working many hours. You plan on being home at 5 and having dinner at 6 and, eating dinner at candlelight or making love by candlelight that evening or whatever the case is, but working less. Bring that into your lifestyle now. Start living that life now rather than when somebody comes, because that's kind of a lot of pressure you're putting on somebody that they're going to kind of change your lifestyle. And sure, it can happen that way, and things can change once you have a partner in your life, but you really want your life to mirror the lifestyle that you're going to have with that person now so that it's easier to bring it into your future later. All right? So on that note, we have a minute left here. I just want to thank Phil. Thank you for sharing. I know it's a sensitive topic for a lot of people, and I appreciate you sharing so honestly and openly. And thank you for being my first guest. That's awesome. And I don't know if you have any final notes.
I thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and you're doing awesome, and I'm looking forward to us working together on future projects as well. So thank you.
Very cool. Me too. Thank you, and thank you, everybody, and we will speak to you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Prepare Yourself for Love with Blaire Allison, the Love Guru. For more information, visit her websites at loveguru.net for women and datingtipsfordudes.com for men. Blaire is also on Facebook and Twitter. Look for her on there.